Welcome back to our coverage of the Democratic National Convention taking place in Denver. We are just a couple of minutes away from Michelle Obama's speech. Right now at the podium is Craig Robinson, Michelle Obama's brother, who is set to introduce his sister. Before we go to that, I'd like to get some thoughts from our political analysts and CTV's Tom Clark. We'll do a little bit of a roundtable. Let me reintroduce our guest to you once again. From Washington, political analyst Solon Simmons. CTV's Tom Clark is in Denver, and he's joined by Democratic strategist Scotty Greenwood. Solon, let's begin with you. What do we need to hear tonight from Michelle Obama? What do you expect to hear from her tonight?
Well, I expect she'll try to talk a little bit about the fact that Barack Obama is a patriotic guy who loves America, and he's also just a normal guy as well. She's in a tough position where she has to convince the United States and act as a kind of a midwife of a certain kind of politics that she is the United States, that African Americans are going to occupy the White House, and that's going to be a fine thing for the United States. The national community can deal with that. So that's a long process she has to begin, and that prejudice out there, that racism potentially, is something she has to grapple with. So through her very bearing and the way she walks through this, we're going to want to see, can I imagine her in the White House? And isn't it going to be a great thing? And I think that they're hoping that with this film that we'll start to see, we'll start to become comfortable with Michelle and with her whole family in the White House.
Right, and they're playing that film. I'm going to go over to the professor, Solon Simmons, once again. Does it matter who the First Lady is? Does it affect the vote? Will people be thinking about Cindy McCain or Michelle Obama come November?
I think it does, and it does for the simple reason that on a symbolic level, the first family is the paradigm for the American family. There's a way in which we have a self-conception of who we are as a people by looking at who's occupying the White House. And so for Barack Obama to be the institutional leader of the country is one thing. For this family to be the paradigmatic family is another, and it's going to be a really important moment, and I think it'll help. It might well push us toward a kind of racial reconciliation. I think that's what people are excited about. So it really does matter, I think.
All right. Welcome to CTV Newsnet and our special coverage of the Democratic Convention. I'm Marcia MacMillan. History is being made tonight in Denver, Colorado. Very shortly, we will be hearing from Barack Obama as he accepts the nomination to run for president for the Democratic Party. Joining me this evening is Solon Simmons, a professor of sociology and conflict analysis at George Mason University. He specializes in U.S. politics. Good to see you again. We are, as we just mentioned, awaiting Barack Obama's big speech, the highlight, the culmination of this DNC over the last few days. What are you expecting to hear tonight, Solon?
Well, the main things we ought to be watching for is how does he speak about the economy? How does he speak about the use of American power, perhaps even energy? These are the big forces of change. Of course, change is associated with him being the first potential president of mixed race, but these are also the other things we want to pay attention to. He's got a big burden ahead of him. He has to blend the legacies of Martin Luther King and JFK all in a single speech, so a lot waiting on his words.
Indeed. Talk to us as well about the historical significance of this night. You mentioned it is the anniversary of that incredible speech that took place 45 years ago.
It is. 45 years ago here in Washington, we had the I Have a Dream speech, and many people see this as the culmination of the effort for racial justice. And so it's extremely exciting for that reason, and that, of course, is part of the historic nature of this speech. Of course, there's a lot more at stake as well, and so I think Barack Obama is trying to live up to legacies which are extremely high for him, and people have compared him to Abraham Lincoln all the way to Nelson Mandela. So expectations are raging.
Very high, big shoes to fill. Well, part of tonight's, the purpose of tonight is also to reintroduce Barack Obama to the Democratic Party, to America, to the world. A video has now begun. Let's listen in and we'll catch up with you at the end of the speeches.